Well, welcome to the Mastering Mindset Renewal podcast. My name is Oscar Banks, and I am sitting with who in my mind I just call the man because what he is doing is just inspiring to millennials and young people in general here in the Corpus Christi area. And I just know that he's going to have a ripple effect throughout America, throughout this country. So I am sitting with Eric Holguin. It's so great to have you, with me today on this very first podcast.
Yeah,
so
congratulations on the kickoff episode.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
You.
Be a part of this.
Yeah, I wouldn't have it any other way. Yeah. So generally, I think what's interesting about people is that everybody has a history. Mm-hmm. So who is Eric? Who's Eric?
I really don't have this super interesting, complicated story. I'm born and raised South Texas, born here in Corpus Christi, and I lived in Odom, Falfurrias, down in the valley, and I graduated from A&M Corpus Christi. I come from a working middle class Tejano family, and that's sort of what I grew up as. We didn't really have much growing up, and so we sort of just depended on our education and working hard in order to get where we wanted and what we wanted to do. And so that's pretty much, my father's a high school teacher and a football coach. Mm-hmm. My mother's a nurse. My brothers are veterans, and they're now Texas State Troopers. Yeah. And my late grandfather, he was a justice of the peace for over 30 years in Jim Hogg County, which is over in Hebbronville. Oh, wow. So I come from a very public service oriented family. So. Yeah.
So that goes into my next question is what drove you into public service? Coming from a humble background, that's another thing that interests me in you is that we have that in common. Yeah. And I'm sure with majority of the people here in Corpus Christi and throughout America come from humble backgrounds. But what drove you into getting into public service?
Well, I always say I think it's literally in our DNA because I have a lot of family in law enforcement. And that's just sort of how we were raised. My parents never really taught us to go into the private sector and be bankers and be lawyers and do all these things where you make a lot of money. It was more, become a teacher so that way you could help students and
inspire them.
And so we were always pushed to help people. And side story, I actually ran for a city council seat here in 2009 when I was a college student at A&M Corpus Christi.
What?
Yeah.
What gives you the audacity
I know.
to do that? That's amazing.
I remember I was working for the school newspaper at the time, and me and some friends were sitting around, and they're like, you know what? No, this city doesn't really care about the young people. Right. I ran on a platform of something called Brain Drain. We have A&M Corpus Christi, we have Del Mar, we have A&M Kingsville down the road. Everyone gets educated here, and then they leave, and they never come back. Right. And that's why you see the city aging and not really moving forward. So I ran. I kept showing up. All the other elected officials or people that are running for election kept looking at me like, why isn't he going away yet?
Yeah, go sit down.
Yeah. And that's sort of how they treated me. Like every time I would answer the question, they would like pat me on the back and be like, good job, like in sort of a, kind of a condescending way. Yeah. But I just kept doing it. I didn't win, but I didn't come in last place. There was 9 of us. I think it came in 6th place. And so after that, I sort of ended up seeking new opportunities outside of the state, where I moved to New York. Mm-hmm. And my first job there, I was actually a talent agent. So I put actors in TV shows and movies and commercials. And as I was doing that, I realized I had more of a passion for making the actors happy and helping them achieve their dreams. Right. Yeah. Because whenever they landed a TV show role or a movie role, they would just start crying and be like, oh my God, this is so great. And I got more satisfaction out of that as opposed to getting my commission for getting them in that movie.
Right. It was a deeper purpose.
Yeah. And then I sort of started getting that fire in my rear again of, all right, I think you might want to get into government. So I started off working part-time for a U.S. Congresswoman, Carolyn Maloney, and then 6 months after that, I jumped over to the New York City Comptroller's office as a community advisor for his. Yeah. So that's that's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's amazing that, when you've been granted a deeper purpose in life. As a pastor, we call it a calling.
Yeah.
But a deeper purpose in life, no matter what other jobs you do, it seems like that nothing can stop you from going after what deeper purpose you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I sort of had, between the talent agent before working for the Congresswoman, I took about a year off to figure out life and what I wanted to do. And during that time, I actually picked up the guitar, learned guitar, and I got into music, and I was performing at clubs all over New York City, which was pretty cool. And then that's what I said whenever the public service bug started coming back.
Wow.
And people always ask me, now that I'm running for Congress, people are like, "Oh, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it?" And it's not a career for me. And I'm doing it because I care. And I feel like it's my calling because I don't feel like I'm betraying myself.
Right.